the Senior Vice President, Global Head of Engineering Technology at Tech Mahindra, Mr. Rajesh Dudu. Can I have a round of applause for him, please? I had to confirm. The Talent Acquisition Head, the Director, Mr. Arvinda Kumar. The Head of Learning and Development at ISTD Hyderabad, Dr. S. Anand Reddy. Ma'am, can I request you to be here? We'll shift one chair. No, ma'am, here. Please be here. Sir, here. Sir, would you just move one chair more? It's more easier for the audience to see. Sir, कष्ट आपको भी करना पड़ेगा. So all the HRs are here. Just a fun question. Am I employable? Where would you put a guy like me? Please ask me. That's a question which I've been asking myself. Okay, but gentlemen and the good lady here with us, I graduated in 2009, my engineering. It's changed phenomenally. The scenario has changed. From what we learned at Java programming is outdated, and today it's a total different ball game. What is the role going to be from, as a HR of a firm, what are the skills that you, from the educational institutes is going to be this thing, and also how does automation change the learning and development within the organization? I think this is going to be a few set of questions which the audience also would be interested, but I'll leave it to Mr. Garg to moderate the panel. The mic is all yours.
Got lucky to get the mic and start the session. So, we are, this panel which we are actually looking at, the panel discussion which future of education and employability in the age of AI and automation. This is a very important topic. We all have been discussing various aspects of it, and since morning we have been discussing how AI and automation can actually transform the lives in various aspects. Now, two different aspects which are very important: education and employability. Now, that is what we are going to discuss, and we would like to get the views of different panel members. Now, before we start, we all will agree that AI has already come. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. We all have to adopt it. We all have to change as per AI, right? So, my first question, which I would like to open it to all the panel members: what is the impact of disruption in education from AI and similar automated related technologies?
Hello. Yeah. So my perspective is very simple. Automation has been around for centuries together, right? In terms of, or at least in the last century, the form and nature of automation is only changing. I think at least from an education perspective, if I have to compare the previous days and the current days, the good olden days, the problem was, while the intent was there, access was not around. And we all grew up by listening to the fabled story of Eklavya, who had intent, but he did not have access. And then he found it very, very difficult to get educated, to the point that he did a proxy education and he has to give away his thumb. That's a fabled story that we all grew up to during our childhood days. But now the inverse has happened. Today what happens is, access is available everywhere, but intent is not there. That's what is happening with students. Today, if you want to learn anything, you have multiple channels and you have multiple avenues, but you have the real intent to learn. That is a big fundamental change that is happening today. You can attribute it to automation, you can attribute it to excess supply of education or whatever it is, but in reality, that is the change that I'm seeing.
So, with that perspective, I would like to get an HR perspective or talent acquisition perspective. When we say, how current is the education system when you are looking in for a right kind of talent acquisition for various industries?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for this awesome question. I believe heading campus for a decent number of years, I have seen a huge change in last couple of years in terms of adoption of technology on campus. That also means that the academicians and the educationists have also evolved in their mindsets to allow students to adapt to technology. This has been in the form of upskilling, reskilling, assessment. Many of the campuses themselves have subscribed to assessments. They have had given access to students themselves, mock GDs, mock PIs. In this way, there are two things that is addressed. One, the student sitting anywhere in the country is able to access what are the concurrent trends that are symbolically happening in the industry. Number two is a much bigger question. If you go back into the rural India, where probably there are students who are just accessing all those technologies today with mobile, with the advent of mobile technologies, I think that has brought the major change where today even a remote college can give students the accessibility to opportunities which are available for the students in metros or in the upscale towns and cities. I think that diversification has also brought in a lot of value in terms of diversified talent to us in the organization also.
Okay. So how AI actually has helped you from the talent acquisition per se?
Now, what I answered is from a campus perspective, right? Now I'll answer it from KEKA's perspective. KEKA's in-house product, we are a HRMS platform, and our in-house product, which is a ATS, is a Hyro. We have had the implementation of generative AI in our job description. So we have started off with that, and we are still integrating it with different modules and consonants with our customers. What this helps us is in kind of screening the resume, finding the right fitment, reducing our cost for hire, improvising the hiring life cycle, and also ensuring that the candidate experience is enhanced. So from a talent acquisition perspective, I think these are the major things that currently I can look.
Right. Wonderful. So Kalyanji, I would like to get your perspective on the fact that when we're talking about industry-academia divide, it is something which we have been discussing for almost 2 decades. Every platform that there is a big divide between the industry and the academia, and then there is a big divide between the curriculum as well. Now, with upcoming emerging technologies, specifically talking about AI, and when she mentioned that universities and academic institutions these days are already adopting emerging technologies, they are reskilling their faculties from that perspective, they are improvising their curriculum from that perspective. So, what are your thoughts? How would you see it from a different lens now?
Thank you very much. And hello, everyone, and good afternoon. So coming back to how do we see from handling global organizations from an IT perspective, right? AI, as you rightly said, AI is already in for a very long time. It's not something that new, but the acceleration of AI has been much more faster. So when it comes to technology, right? So it should never be we against technology. It should be with the technology. The more technology becomes an ally of industry, an ally of institutions, educational institutions, it will be much easier for us to make that ally much stronger, right? So because I believe in technology, I believe in more human intelligence. Technology is enhancing the human intelligence than replacing the human intelligence, because I believe in that. So look at the kind of AI and generative AI tools and technologies that we see in the industry today, right? Which are more, and look at the kind of human how we evolved with these technologies, how we developed these technologies, and how we achieved a lot of things that we achieved today are because of this kind of mentality that technology should become more ally. And technology, we should work with technology to make sure that we build a much stronger industry as well as institutions, because I believe that majority of the educational institutions right now who are present, and also they are the architects of our future, because they are the ones who build our future, whether in whatever way we are today. And we are all a part of that build. We all came from some institution or some college which has built us today. So I feel when this institutions start talking, and I'm very happy talking to all of you guys, are already part of this journey and trying to formulate a center of excellence with partnering with the industries. I think that's a great moment, and I see we will have. Will there be a challenge? Yes, there will be a challenge. We cannot blindly say that no, there's no challenge, because as per some reports that I was reading, 85 million jobs will change the way they work by 2025. Having said that, right, it is also important that we need to understand that 60% of the jobs that we do today will create more jobs in the new ways, which we don't even know what the title looks like. We're kind of building a lot of jobs which we don't know the title. So it is important for us to build the basics and the fundamentals strong, and the technology will help us to be more faster in this.
Absolutely, absolutely, great. So Arvindji, I would like to understand from your perspective, what are the challenges which you are actually facing in the very recent times with the advent of AI and emerging technologies and automation when it comes to hiring the talent from the universities?
First of all, thank you for inviting me into this elite panel. My experience has been very nascent. We've not been using a lot of AI ML, but my independent view is, being in industry for last 19-20 years, there is always this element of comparison. I go to universities, I hire from market. Why are you not working on something which is latest and greatest? There is always this question. I have worked, and I currently work for a company which delivers value to the customer, and customers don't pay because of the technology that we use. Customers pay to the company because of the value that we deliver, right? Mm-hmm. So as long as our engineering talent understand that AI is one other evolving system where we can use our fundamentals, I totally agree with you on that space, right? We as long as we are able to use our intelligence, human intelligence, and build something great for the greater good of the world and on the companies that we work for, right, it is going to be useful for both the parties. But if we are stuck upon looking at something which is latest and greatest, people ask, why not this, why not that? But companies don't pay because I want to ride a horse. I'm delivering this. There is a value that is derived out of this, and customers are paying for that. Mm-hmm. So that's my independent view on this.
So I think it will be right to say that the value is already there. The only thing is that how do we derive the value out of it?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. So Dr. Reddy, I have a different question from you, and because it's altogether a different perspective which we all understand with AI and automation. I think all the panel members said it is there, it is going to benefit. How do you see AI and automation providing an equitable access and equal opportunities for everyone?
Thank you very much. But I would like to talk something different what you are asking, because I would want to disagree with your statement. I would say we are going to see a lot of job polarization in the future.
Okay.
So in terms of work economy or skill economy. Because when you speak about AI, what people require is that it's a skill-based. So those who have a potential skills, they will be hired for a higher amount. Those who have semi-skilled or lower level of skills, they will not be taken. So as a consequence, what happens, there's a gap between skilled versus unskilled. So which also will increase economy.
Okay.
So workforce economy. Now what happens? Rich becomes little more richer, poor becomes little more poorer. So I'm foreseeing a gap between these two, because AI is a skill-based, automation is going to be a skill-based. Whatever is a regular work, mundane work, will be taken over by artificial intelligence. Wherever is the requirement of innovation is a high skill requirement.
Okay.
Then few people will be selected. Now, this is where, I'm seeing the gap between.
But is it not something true for all the technologies, irrespective of AI? Technology has always been an enabler, and someone who catches up with the technology always stays in demand. And someone who don't, they are all not in demand. So that disparity was always there.
Yes. So, but what I'm saying, now in the current generation, even the semi-skilled or low-skilled, we are able to accommodate in certain positions, like a data entry. It's not skilled. Once you learn, it can keep on doing it. You don't require a high set of skills. But in the future, these kind of regular activities, which are done by lower skilled or no skilled persons, will be automated. Now that gap will increase in the future. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I think you have to actually see the situation from both sides of the coin, right? There are positives as well as there are negatives. Now let's look at positive from an AI and an automation perspective. Today, most of the companies have to hire on a quicker basis. So speed is of essence over there. So if you have to hire, for example, credible tech company, needn't be just Tech Mahindra, it could be Wipro, it could be Infosys, it could be TCS. They hire people like 20, 30,000 freshers. And when you hire those 20,000, 30,000 freshers in a definite period of time, then you need to obviously look at assessments, you will look at skill evaluation on an automated fashion. That's where AI plays an important role. But there is also another side of the coin. And the other side of the coin is all of you can relate to that. How many of you can do complex math without using calculator or Excel? Nobody. And you go to a shop in Europe, you go to a shop in US, even if you give 10 unit of currency, they have to give you 2 or 3 units of the currency. You tell them the answer, they will not believe you. They will pull out a calculator, punch the number, and then only they validate what you are saying. So there one needs to be extremely careful. It is going to happen even in the current generation of Gen AI or artificial intelligence. Today I know the coders are no more coding. They're basically looking at a code base and then using these tools, whether this code base is correct or not, and then acting upon it. But they are not genuinely, natively, they're able to develop that. And if that continues, then we are headed into a big, big problem, because the natural intelligence gets superseded by the artificial intelligence. So that's where one need to evaluate it carefully. There are benefits as well as there are not so good benefits in terms of fungibility of human skills. As long as you're not trading the fungibility of that human skill to a machine skill, you're good. The second one is in terms of learn and relearn. Good example again. My dad was a banker. When automation came into banking, there was a strike saying that they will lose jobs. But what happened to the banking jobs? The cashier and the teller jobs evaporated, but loan officer, credit officer, wealth manager, relationship manager, those jobs were not existent before. They came into existence, which means the guy who was working as a cashier or a teller, if he or she has not reskilled, have not relearned, then they would have become completely decimated. But it has not happened. So it's always a yin and yang of this particular thing. That's where one need to be very, very careful about.
Wonderful. So I think it would be right to say that we are going through a transition phase. We do not know how the things will evolve, but definitely, yes, the things are evolving.
Now, maybe I would like to add one more point also to the same. Current generation, what we look at. The recruiters, when they go to the campuses, they look for a high-skilled persons. Second, once they are on board, they are working with us. I give a work to the skilled person rather than unskilled person, because if unskilled doesn't do, I don't have problem, let him take his salary. But those who are doing better, they get more work. So again, that gap is coming in. So this is what I was, unless the current generation or maybe future generation, they are ready for the market requirement by getting upskilled, this gap will be much more wider.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the emphasis which we have to understand on the point which sir is trying to bring forward is the skilling, reskilling, and upskilling. Whatever era we will be working on, these three aspects are going to make a pivotal role in the life of many millions of people in making sure they earn their livelihood the right way.
And to my original point, all of that are there. If intent is not there, it's not going to work. You have access, but you need to have the intent.
That's true. That's true. So when we talk about these innovations, when we talk about these transformations, we always talk about some sort of interventions, the interventions from the governments and the policymakers. So I would like to throw it open to all the members, and I would like to get the insight that do you think that the government and the policymakers should intervene right now for the implementation of AI and similar technologies in field of education? Yeah, please.
I think short answer is yes. I'll give you an example. This is the cricket World Cup season, right? Everybody gets glued to, watching TVs or understand what's going on. So I was having a conversation with my friends. We were upset that West Indies was not in the final 10. And then we started talking about the greats of West Indian cricket. I was talking about Marshall. I was talking about Ambrose. There were a few others who were talking about Haynes, Phillips. Desmond Haynes, Phil Simmons, and then sometime later when I was casually browsing through my phone, YouTube and Facebook threw out some alert saying, do you want to watch Curtly Ambrose 7 for 1 against Australia at Sydney, right? So when we speak something, right, our kids are listening and observing. The good news is our systems, our gadgets are also observing and learning. And it all depends on what we want to teach our gadgets. Now, if at all at this point in time, our education system experts, our policymakers, our technology experts, they don't come into, don't work together in collaboration, it could create confusion about usage of this entire platform. So it all depends on what we teach, all of these people to come together and build an ecosystem that helps us to move forward from here than go backward. That's my independent view.
Aryaji?
This is a very interesting question, given that I generally tend to interact a lot with educational institutions, the stakeholders. They are major stakeholders for us as well. I think it's a very simple thing that we all know. A fisherman can teach you fishing well, right? So I believe it's the first thing is government intervention, fair enough. But then the second thing is how much are our academicians, open to themselves adopt technologies. I still know of campuses which outsource a major part of their actual industrial projects, to other consultants, etc. And that's a different story. But why is that we internally in education system not build the research, not build the capacity, not build the infrastructure which is self-sustainable and also benchmarked worldwide? If you see, India is still not amongst the top in terms of that kind of a stature in academics. I think government, academicians themselves, and educational institutions should steadfastly adopt to this kind of a mindset first. We will be open to adopt technologies into our not only curriculum, but also our own skill sets. They themselves should be upskilled. I think upskilling is required certainly in a major way in academics.
No, I would like to add on and very brilliant thoughts actually on that. So, I believe in one thing, that the world is changed by examples than opinions, right? So we need to have more examples like this, because to follow, to ensure that someone has done this. Like example, if you take from morning, I'm hearing a lot of Facebooks, a lot of name about Facebook or some other technology giant. So we need more examples in India like that. We need to ensure that we follow through that examples. And yes, the policies make a lot of difference in the way we articulate, the way we program ourselves. from where the talent is sourced and from where the talent is acquired. So I think it makes an immense difference in the entire scenario if the policies are very much relevant to encourage the whole ecosystem than figuring out places where, because today the biggest challenge is that whether it is startup, whether it is an entrepreneurship or a student or an academy, where to go? How do I do this? I have an intention to, do something, but there are a lot of people come to me and say that, okay, what should I do? How do I do this? I think this ecosystem is an important aspect, and the policies definitely makes a lot of difference when it comes to the government.
That's true. That's true.
I would let me not answer directly to you to the question, but I'll go by what I think Kalyan was asking about examples. I have 2 examples which can be self-reflective is the answer. Point number 1, most of the organizations, they are coming out with a skill learning centers. Why is that? When institutes are training or educating the people, why is that? Again, organizations need to have their own skill academies. Example, my company, almost we recruit more than 1,000 people being in the pharma. Every year, 1,000 freshers we recruit. And everybody who comes in, mandatorily they have to undergo at least 60 days of training, both theory as well as a practical. Because we understand if it's a theory start, we could teach practical. But we have to teach both theory and practical. So it's a question which can answer. The second, I keep interacting with a lot of students. So when I asked some of the engineering students or some graduates, the first question when I asked them, how is your education? They said, first year it's a fantastic. Because they pass all the exams and they have a lot of energy. Second year and third year, they have a lot of backlogs. I asked them why. Sir, by the time we go into the corporate world, what is taught in the first year and second year is useless because knowledge span has reduced. Why is that still we have to study and waste our time, so we are enjoying? So that's the reason we clear all the subjects in the 4th year and we get into corporate. Now this is the answer. Now answer is there already.
Wonderful. So that is the reason. So just to add to what all the panel members have said, when we talk about intervention of the government or the policy makers, it's not just a restrictive intervention. It could be a constructive intervention as well. It could be that we need to actually include in the curriculum frameworks these essential skills. AI and emerging technologies have to be the credit-based, and it has to be linked with the industry curricula.
The other area of intervention that is required is from the digital divide perspective, right? Earlier we used to see the people of the society between have not, poor and the rich. Today the access to digital technology and those who do not have access to digital technology. We've been a long proponent of that. Even if you look at our foundation, Tech Mahindra Foundation, we have smart skilling centers that are available in different parts of the city and also in some of the interior areas. But are they enough? No, they're not enough. One private entity can do only that much. It cannot do everything to address the requirement of the market. Today, when we are talking about our perspectives, willingly or unwillingly, we base our perspectives based on what we see in these developed areas. But when you go into the developing areas, how many people have access to those digital devices? Today, if you don't have that access, that's a reverse of what I said earlier. In areas of excess, there is access, but there is no intent. In areas of deficit, people have intent, but there is no access. So that's a gap, again, that has to be bridged. And the responsibility of bridging that is with the government. For example, a good example is you look at Hanuman Vyamshala for your physical training. You will see those Hanuman Vyamshalas in every nook and corner of the country. But you have a tech Vyamshala in every nook and corner of the country. No, there is no tech Vyamshala. That's where the intervention by the government is required so that those underprivileged people also get an opportunity to catch up.
That's true. That's true. So this is something which has been bothering our country and the kind of scale which we have. There has always been times and difficulties of access to the quality education, access to the quality technical infrastructure which they have, while to imbibe the basics of the new age technologies, right? So in the interest of time, I would just like to ask one last important question to all the panel members. See, when we talk about including these new age skills in the educational frameworks, which can be the meeting points, could be the serving points for the industries of present and the future. Skilling our faculties is going to take some time. That's a practical aspect. But students are already passing out. Do you think that what Kalyanji specifically highlighted was the concept of center of excellences? That these center of excellences within educational institutions run in collaboration with industry pioneers like yourself, meeting and bringing on the platform emerging technologies and then serving the needs of this gap to be addressed. Your thoughts? Kalyanji, let's start with you.
Hello. Yeah. No, that's a very interesting and very thoughtful idea to have a center of excellence, because center of excellence as a concept in IT industry has been overboiled for a while now. You know, we've been talking about center of excellence in the IT sector. Everywhere you see there is a COEs and the COE heads, but the true essence of center of excellence only comes when Sir just mentioned the intention needs to be accurate and it need to continue for the time that the center of excellence is developed. So yes, the answer is a very big yes, that the bridge between what is the talent influx that is coming in the market versus what is the customer value that we really need to bring in. The bridge between both of these needs to be built stronger. That's when we can make some difference. Or else we can keep on going on saying that, okay, industry need this, customer need this. We have a guy who's sitting with certifications around him. But the bridge needs to be gapped well. And I think the center of excellence that you're talking are much needed in all the areas, not just from, because today technology is as closer as any other industry. It's not, IT services is not separate. IT services is on our phones that I just heard in the morning, right? It's everywhere. So in any industry, we need to have that center of excellence. And another point that I wanted to make is, as Sir rightly said, we're living, and I will want to put it in another way, we are in a world of, sorry for that, but we are in a world of content indigestion. There's a lot of content. There's no context. We are missing the context, and there's huge content around this. So we're getting confused. That's what you also mentioned. There's a lot of content. Content is throwing on us every day. So how do you channelize is an important center of excellence theme should be, and then putting it to the right context.
Right. Yeah. Dr. Reddy.
I think collaboration between the industry and academics is very much needed. So let me answer this from two perspectives. One is being a chairman of ISTD Hyderabad chapter. We have almost 500 members of learning L&D professionals in this chapter. So we do conduct every month one learners forum where all these professionals, irrespective of their cadre, they want to learn and upskill themselves with something. Now, it's okay, we can do it virtually, but what we do usually, every month we take them to one company to understand what is the kind of infrastructure that they have, to understand what is the kind of mechanism that they are working on. Now, this helps them to learn in the similar way, and then they can adapt. Believe me, I went to Delhi University for one program where we conducted. We have identified a beautiful method of engaging the people in the conversations. So we have to, I came back and adapted in my own office. So that's how I keep learning. Now similarly, let me take this perspective from the point of pharmaceutical industry. Now, when we are working, already a lot of pharmaceutical companies already tied up with a couple of universities, and then we are already doing a course in the last final semester of those people. Our own industry people go there, then we train, we give our curriculum what they need to understand, and certain times we arrange some kind of programs for these people. So that's how what is happening is that they are becoming industry ready. See, for us, being in the pharma, unless you experience that machinery, the smell of the product, it's a very difficult to work in the manufacturing plant.
That's right.
If you say that I want to sit in a AC room, it's impossible. Day 2, you will not come to office. So that's a reason we wanted to have that pre-exposure to all these people so that they understand and feel what a pharmaceutical manufacturing company is. Maybe future, if breakfast is a tablet, lunch is a tablet, and dinner is a tablet, then we will have a AC rooms. Till then, it's a manufacturing facility.
Okay, great. So, Arya ma'am.
So I'll bring in a little different perspective here. I'll talk here about KECA because as of now we have no current ideas around setting up a center of excellence because generally bigger behemoths usually do that. So because of our, we have our evolving startup and we have recently, had a funding and all of that. So what we have done at KECA is we wanted to empower youth all over the country. And that is the reason we started our own KECA Academy, which is our CSR effort. And anybody can log in, any student or early talent can log in and get certified on the specific skill set, which is hovering around HRMS as a skill. Wow. So anybody who is intent to do that, do not have to go back to any center of excellence. So we just log in, probably we wanted to automate, a bit of automation was there. And we wanted that learning to be available everywhere, anywhere, even on your mobile phones. Yeah. So I think we evolved and tried to probably give this as a benefit rather than, setting up a center of excellence.
Sure. So, Arvindji, 30 seconds.
Only 30 seconds? Okay, I will try and cover it in 30 seconds. I totally agree to the perspective is here. As a head of talent acquisition, when I speak to university representatives, right, I always demand a day zero, right? Very rarely they ask us, okay, you are asking a day zero, but what is that you're doing for the betterment of the university, for the student community? Very rarely we basically get to answer these kind of questions. But the COE concept, right? Are we trying to do something to help your professors get better? Give them a hackathon. Instead of students, get the professors solve the problem.
Wow.
Train the trainer, right? You have a product that you are no longer selling. Can you share that knowledge base with us and then we basically teach our students so that they are ready for your organization? Right? And then maybe you do not have time to solve a problem. That is important. But can you give us the knowledge base? We solve the problem for you. And if you are able to create, monetization out of it, maybe you can pay us some stipend. But so basically, it is about giving back to the university, curriculum, to whatever university that we are working for. But that is a great example of center of excellence. It is not just, working in silos, but working in collaboration with external set of people is what I think is.
So training the trainer on the emerging technologies. Wonderful. So, last comments.
Yeah, so if the answer is should we have a COE, absolutely the answer is yes. But often what happens is when you have a center of excellence, it just becomes a check-in box. For instance, some of the centers that I had been to recently within Tech Mahindra under the aegis of Tech Mahindra Foundation, we've seen that people are being taught anatomy in the old fashion in terms of the charts. So there are charts which explain anatomy of heart, anatomy of lung, anatomy of human body, and then people have to memorize it. So what we have done is, ever since that, we changed the equation completely. Today, those students who were learning from physical charts, today they learn using an Oculus device. Because we are now bringing in immersive environments over there. And when you do something, your ability to retain is about 60% compared to when you're trying to read something and memorize, which is probably about 20-30%. So the point that I'm trying to make is, definitely you need to have centers of excellence, but with the right tools. And they should be catching up with the technologies, the latest technologies that are there. If we don't do that, then it becomes just for the sake of existence.
That's absolutely true. And I think Chinmayji must be feeling very happy that you took anatomy name 4 times. Great. So
I was not paid by him to do that.
Great. So I think the concluding remarks would be that we all agree that emerging technologies like AI and automation related to it is part of the era. It is going to come. The only thing is that how we can actually bring together education, industry, skilling partners, train the trainers, and various different aspects so that the youth who is going to become the future industry leaders are, in true sense, aware about these technologies and make a long-lasting impact. Right? With that, we will actually close this session. Are we on time, sir?
Yes.
Great. Thanks a lot.